So you're looking to sell your property. You're probably picturing endless open houses, constant pressure to drop your price, and just a lot of waiting around. But what if the real secret to selling isn't about the house at all? What if it's about selling the financing for it? Today, we're going to dive into a really powerful but often overlooked method that could get your home sold faster and for a much better price. It's called temporary seller financing.
All right, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to talk about why the usual way of selling a house is, well, kind of broken. Then, we'll uncover the real key to actually getting a deal done. From there, I'll introduce you to this idea of seller financing. We'll walk through exactly how it works, step by step, and finally, we'll see how this one shift in strategy can completely unlock your sale. Okay, let's dive right in with something most of us know all too well, the traditional sales trap. This is the path pretty much everyone takes, and you know it's often a long, expensive, and super frustrating road.
So let me just ask you, if you've ever tried to sell a property before, I have a feeling some of this is going to sound painfully familiar. I mean, think about it. You've got those last-minute showings that throw your whole day off. You're shelling out money for staging consultants to make everything look perfect. Meanwhile, you're still paying the mortgage, the taxes, the insurance, month after month. And all you hear is this constant pressure to drop your asking price. To top it all off, the buyer's bank is the one calling all the shots. It's no wonder it can take 6 months, sometimes even longer, just to get to the finish line. So, what's the bottom line here? The standard way of doing things isn't just slow, it's practically designed to be this long, complicated, and expensive ordeal for pretty much everyone involved.
So, if that old way is so painful, what's the answer? Well, this brings us to what I think is the real secret weapon in real estate. It's about a total shift in how you think. You're not just selling a property, you're selling the way for someone to actually buy it.
And this quote just hits the nail on the head. The most powerful thing you can do as a seller, it isn't a new kitchen or perfectly manicured lawn, it's actually helping your buyer get the financing they need to make the purchase.
And here's the kicker, the reason why that's so important, most real estate deals don't fall apart over inspections or because the buyer gets cold feet. Nope, the number one reason deals die is because the buyer, or sometimes even the property itself, can't get a thumbs up for a traditional bank loan. That right there is the biggest logjam in the whole system.
So, if financing is the problem, then we need a financing solution, right? And that brings us right here. Let's talk about seller financing. This is the tool that smashes right through that logjam.
Okay, so what is this thing really? To put it simply, with temporary seller financing, you, the seller, agree to carry back a loan for your buyer. You basically step in and act as the bank for a little while. Instead of waiting for a big bank to approve a loan, you create a promissory note, which is really just a formal IOU, and the sale happens.
And boom, this visual shows you the immediate impact. The number of buyers who can actually get a traditional bank loan, it's a pretty small pool. But the moment you offer to provide the financing, suddenly you open the door to a much larger group of potential buyers.
You're not just stuck with the people that banks deem worthy. By offering financing, you are literally removing the single biggest roadblock for them. And that makes your property instantly more appealing than pretty much every other listing out there.
Now, I know what you might be thinking. Whoa, acting as the bank? That sounds complicated, and I need my cash now, not down the road. Totally fair point. So let's break down how this process actually turns that buyer's promise into cold, hard cash for you. It's really just a simple 3-step process. First, you and the buyer agree on the sale, and you create that loan, that promissory note. You're the bank. Step 2, a specialist immediately takes that note and sells it to a whole network of professional investors who love buying these things. And third, you get your money, a lump sum of cash, often right there at the closing table. And listen, you are not doing this alone. A seller finance specialist handles all the tricky parts. They do the paperwork, they find the investor, they negotiate the sale of that note for you, and it's all transparent. They give you a net quote, so you know exactly how much cash you're walking away with. No hidden fees, no surprises. And what's really great here is the flexibility. Yeah, you can get a huge chunk of cash right away, but you can also set up the deal to get monthly payments over time, or even another lump sum down the road. You actually have options, which is pretty powerful.
Okay, let's pull this all together and land the plane. In our final section, we're going to put the old way and the new way right next to each other so you can see the difference crystal clear.
I mean, just look at this. On one side, the traditional sale. Tiny pool of buyers, the bank is in charge of everything, it takes forever, and you're always getting haggled down on price. Then you look at seller financing.
a massive buyer pool, you have more control, the sale is way faster, and you're in a prime position to get your full asking price. It's really a night and day difference.
So let's be super clear about this. This isn't some shady workaround. It is a completely safe, legal, and well-established form of financing. At the end of the day, it's all about two things: selling your property quickly and getting top dollar for it by taking away the biggest headache for your buyers.
So I'll just leave you with this one final thought. What if we've all been looking at this completely backwards? What if the quickest, most profitable path to getting that sold sign in your yard isn't really about selling the house at all, but about being the one smart enough to sell the financing that makes the whole deal possible? It's a powerful idea. Thanks for tuning in.